On today's show,
Ben Simmons says he's 100% Rookie of the Year. Is he right, or is Mitchell more deserving?
we discuss the Jazz clinching a playoff spot and the Suns clinching the 30th spot.
And jump on, boys! We have your final weekend whoopsies of the regular season.
It's Monday, April 9th. The starter starts now.
Good evening, Sweet World, and welcome to The Starters, presented by Jack Daniel's Tennessee Honey. Whether you're joining us live right now on NBA TV, watching later on YouTube, maybe listening to the podcast, doesn't matter. We're very happy to have you. I'm Jay Skeets, and alongside me, as always, that's Tass Mellis.
Thank you for joining us.
2 is right. The international man of mystery, taking it to the max, Lee Ellis.
Friend.
Lily.
And last, certainly not least, over yonder, that is the bearded one, that is Trey Kirby.
Hey,
yo! TK, what's up, man?
Well, I'm here at the internet looking for your best tweets at #TheStarters. And guys, I've never met Allen Iverson, but if I do, I hope to play it as cool as this kid, who instead of asking for a standard picture of Allen Iverson, asked for the Tyronn Lue special. Iverson stepping over him, just like he did in the 2001 finals. It's a brilliant idea, and it brings us to today's question. What classic moment would you like to recreate with an NBA player? For instance, maybe you could do the old Matt Barnes ball fake at Kobe if you ever see him out in a movie theater, or you could hide from Rashad McCants like Kyle Korver did once upon a time, or maybe you could even let Lance Stevenson blow into your ear. Whatever it is, we want to hear from you, so let us know on Twitter. What iconic moment would you like to recreate with an NBA player? Send us your best tweets to #TheStarters. We'll hear from you later.
All right, get those tweets in. Fun Monday show for you. We're going to discuss the Utah Jazz officially clinching a playoff spot. We got a new batch of weekend whoopsies. We got a very solid play. We got a few wedgies to even show you, but let's start with a little Is This News? Trey has rounded up some recent NBA headlines, going to pitch them to us, and we'll debate whether or not they're actually newsworthy. So Trey, take it away.
All right, our first headline comes from ESPN. Ben Simmons says 100% he is Rookie of the Year. Is this news?
Ooh.
100%.
What do you think?
He's a confident man. He's been confident all season long, and that's okay, because I agree with him.
Okay.
Listen, I think he's sort of one of those players, he's veering into the sort of the LeBron, it's not fair how big he is sort of territory, right? Because he's a ball handler at 6'10". He can just do things that Donovan Mitchell can't. You know, he can play 1 through 5 offensively and defensively, and some guys don't use their bodies to their capabilities, but Ben Simmons already is. So I think he's just... He is the guy who does more than Donovan Mitchell to me, although Donovan's a better scorer.
I think if you ask Donovan Mitchell, who's Rookie of the Year, he would say he is. I mean, this is no different than LeBron saying a couple of years ago, I should be Defensive Player of the Year. LeBron would have voted for himself for MVP. Rudy Gobert. Players believe in themselves.
Of course.
And why wouldn't they? He's had an incredible season, Ben Simmons. He's 21 years old. His team's won 50 games. They're in the playoffs. He's had an amazing impact on his team. So why wouldn't he feel that? Now, people are going crazy over this today because they feel that he threw some shade at Donovan Mitchell by sort of saying, when he was asked, did you look at any other rookies? He said, no, none.
Yeah.
But again, it's taken, I think, out of context somewhat because Ben's saying, I think I'm the Rookie of the Year. And I don't think there's anything wrong with anyone saying that. So people like to make it out. I know Donovan Mitchell had a tweet as well himself. But really, Ben won't be unanimous Rookie of the Year, I don't think.
No,
I think he's going to win it a lot. But I think a lot of people will vote for Donovan Mitchell. But I don't think there's anything wrong with a player 21 years old in his first season, having a great season, saying, I think I'm the best rookie.
I guess the counter from Jazz fans is he's not a true rookie. He's not really a rookie, even though he technically, according to the NBA, is a rookie. But with the whole team for a whole year, getting a paycheck, going through all the, in the weight room with all of them, he's getting that sort of, that experience, not playing, but it's an advantage, I think we can all agree, and we've talked about it before.
Yeah.
Blake Griffin, same thing. But that's what Jazz fans... I want a Jazz-Sixers finals, suddenly. I really do, because we've got the Simmons versus Donovan Mitchell sort of Rookie of the Year debate. We've already got a little bit of a Joel Embiid versus Rudy Gobert for Defensive Player of the Year debate. We suddenly have like a Brett Brown and Quinn Snyder as like sort of fringe Coach of the Year candidates. These fan bases don't like each other. Yeah. They've got a lot of ammo for why their guys should win these particular awards. I'm all in on this, and I got no problem with Ben Simmons saying this. It's very similar to a lot of guys. And I got no problem with Mitchell coming right back saying, no, look what I do for my team. You're right, Simmons does a lot of things that Mitchell doesn't do, but Donovan's a better scorer and has been asked to carry the offensive load definitely more than Ben Simmons has. They do it in different ways, I get it, but that and the he's a true rookie are the big sort of
the
counter
true
arguments
one,
to Simmons.
we have to get rid of that because that counts in the NBA. As far as if you don't play in your rookie season, then you're not counted as a rookie. So you know that's the way that the NBA judges it. So we have to forget about that argument. But Donovan Mitchell, I think what goes in his favour here is no one expected the Jazz to be in this position. Not many expected the Sixers to be in this position either. But with Embiid and Simmons there, a lot of people saw the improvement. Not anybody really saw this improvement from the Jazz, particularly coming with the contribution from Mitchell.
No one saw this for sure. Before the season started, we wondered who was going to score for the Jazz. He's come out of nowhere to put up that number of 20 plus. That is a special number for a rookie, a true rookie. I don't know. That term is dumb, but you see those 5 guys there on a winning team to be that 20-point scorer doesn't happen very often in NBA history. So yeah, if you want to vote for Donovan Mitchell, you definitely have.
I mean, this Simmons Mitchell could be a LeBron sort of Dwayne Wade thing going on here, or a LeBron and Melo if you want to look at Mitchell as him. Like, it's pretty cool. We are going to make our official picks on Thursday. It's the Starties, the 5th annual Starties, where we hand out all of our NBA hardware and some other fun categories, hosted once again by Kristen Ledlow.
Maybe we should have a true rookie award and a fake rookie.
Okay,
award.
so a true meme of the year, a not true meme of the year. Yeah, we'll figure it out on Thursday, 7 p.m. The Starties, 5th annual one. All right, Trey, next one.
Next headline is from ClutchPoints.com, always with the clutch headlines. It reads, Doc Rivers says he's never been more proud of a team that didn't make the playoffs. Is this news?
What do you think?
No, not really.
Okay, that's why we do this.
Yeah, it's hard to sort of figure
a
out
proud
because the thing is with the Clippers, we're not quite sure what direction they're in, and they're in that sort of almost position you don't want to be in, where you're not good enough to compete, but you're not bad enough to get one of the high draft picks as well. And they traded away Chris Paul and Blake this season, but they didn't fully embrace the tank. They sort of still competed. So you have to respect that about them. They were in it until, the weekend where they lose. So they fought hard, they did all that. But now the question is, where do the Clippers go from here? Because they've got some decisions to make in the offseason. DeAndre, he's got a player option for 20-odd million. They've already got a lot of money committed to next year's payroll if everybody opts in. So the question for me is great effort, but now how do you improve the team?
Yeah, but would you have believed that the Clippers would have been even in the playoff hunt in the final week of the season if I told you, well, they're trading Chris Paul and then Blake Griffin midseason, and 4 of their 5 major starters are going to be injured most of the time. They're never going to play together. You'd be pretty impressed. I mean, he's done a pretty admirable job here.
Of course.
Yeah.
100%. The second half of the season has been very impressive because when they traded Blake, they were 25-24, which I thought was a little bit disappointing. And that's why I don't have Doc Rivers as one of my Coach of the Year candidates.
Okay.
Because, yeah, they were injured, sure. But you still have Lou Williams performing an all-star level performance, DeAndre Jordan, and Blake Griffin for most of those games. And your 500 team. Injuries, of course, but the second half was a huge surprise. We thought they were just, like you said, just sort of retooling, rebuilding all the re's, and then they still performed above 500. So they had an incredible second half performance. Proud Papa. He should be an extremely proud Papa for his team.
It is funny. I mean, we haven't had a coach win Coach of the Year that hasn't made the playoffs since Doc Rivers. Back in 99-2000, a 41-41 Magic team that just missed out on the playoffs. But people said they thought going into that year when Darryl Armstrong was their leading scorer, they were going to finish with 15 wins, and they won half their game. So impressive. Same thing here with the Clips. But there's just too many Coach of the Year, legit Coach of the Year candidates as well. I mean, Casey, Stevens, Quinn, as I already said, Terry Stotts.
D'Antoni.
Brett Brown, if you want to get in there.
Yeah.
Pop's always there. I mean, it goes on and on and on. There's a good 8 or 9 guys here.
Well, we know Doc Rivers is a good coach. I mean, it's only his second losing season in 18 years as a coach. So we know he is a good coach. But the Clippers now, as I said before, it's their decision of what do they do going forward.
Well, the second half of the season, to me, proves that they won the Blake Griffin trade because they basically had the same performance without having to pay Blake $1 billion.
A bunch of money. All right, final one here, Trey.
All right, our final headline is from the Arizona Daily Star, and it says, Phoenix Suns will finish the season with the worst record in the NBA, have the best odds to land #1 draft pick. Is this news?
Yeah, it's news.
They haven't won the draft lottery yet.
No, but the last 3 years, the team who's had the worst record has won it.
That means we're due for a team that
Yeah,
has the
they've
most
got a
records to not win it.
25%
The Suns do
chance.
not have good lottery luck either over the years. But yeah, not news to me until they actually get that #1 seed. The ping pong balls fall their way. I hope they do. I really do. I'm obviously a huge Devin Booker fan. I'd like to see him get some help there. If it's the big man from Arizona and DeAndre Ayton, that'd be nice. He's already thrown out the idea of like a Shaq Kobe 2.0 between the two of them. I love that moxie. But Devin Booker's won 67 total games in the 3 seasons. Total. he needs some help. He
Yeah.
needs some desperate for some help.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, people aren't watching the Suns and they're missing out on seeing Devin Booker because he is a star.
And they're horrible. I saw John
Both
Schumann point
ends.
this out in the power rankings, the latest power rankings, the last power rankings of the season. Yeah, they're brutal. The worst offensively in the league and the worst defensively in the league. And that's never been done in a 30-team, 82-game regular season.
Quite an accomplishment,
That's
then.
quite an accomplishment. They're that bad, so they can take any help right now. But
Yeah.
I guess 25% chance to land number
Yeah,
one.
but if the last 3 years, the team with the best chance has won it.
Hey, you're playing
It doesn't
roulette.
matter.
You're playing roulette. And you're
doesn't
hitting
matter.
black after black after black after black. Are you going to say, well, now it's due for red?
Yes.
No.
You shouldn't.
You flip a coin 100 times, if it lands on head 100 times, it's still 50-50 the next time.
Yeah,
Math.
walk away. Walk away.
That's
Key.
Don't gamble.
Yeah.
That's our tip. All right, lots more still to come on the starters tonight. When we come back, we will discuss the most impressive part of the 76ers winning streak and Utah clinching a playoff spot. Back in a second. Welcome back to the starters, where it's time for some fill-in-the-blank fun. Play along on Twitter, hashtag the starters with your answers. Trey, you got the cues, my man.
Despite some unnamed haters saying they wouldn't make the playoffs, the Utah Jazz locked in a postseason berth with a win against the Lakers last night. They've got no All-Stars. Rudy Gobert missed a third of the season, and their leading scorer is a rookie, but they still made this handsome fellow look like a fool, so fill in the blank. One word to describe the Jazz this season is blank.
I'm going Celtics-ish. Very Celtics-ish, and I'm not just saying that because of the Gordon Hayward angle, though that's
Right.
sort of ironic. Jazz lose him to free agency. Celtics lose him in the first 5 minutes to injury. But then you look at how they win games. Celtics, number 1 defense in the league. The Jazz, number 2 defense in the league. Really number 1 defense when Gobert's playing. Quinn Snyder has a system in place, just like Brad Stevens. That system, I think, makes guys that are maybe sort of role players on other teams look a lot better because they make it work as a team. And then Donovan Mitchell is sort of like turning into their Kyrie, their go-to guy. You need a bucket late. He can create something. I'll go Celtics-ish. What do you got?
I went inspiring because of coming into the season, we thought, write the Jazz off. But instead, now they're a chance to get out of the first round and also cause some trouble in that second round if things go their way. And I think that's great because you look at these guys on paper and you want to cheer for them. You want to see them do well. And I think that's great. So many other teams have been tanking this season. It's great to see that the Jazz didn't go down that path.
Yep.
Instead, they decided to fight and scrap. And now it's like, it'd be great to see how far these guys can go.
Yeah, recently there's been a lot of talk about this team as they go into the postseason that they play for each other. There's a lot of glue guys on this team. There's a lot of Ricky Rubios on this team. But we kind of should have known coming into the season that they passed the ball a lot. The last few years, they've been up there in passing. And that's why I picked draftability, because we make up words in sports all the time.
Yeah, nice word.
And without all
Nice
that,
fake word.
that passing is fantastic, but without a guy who can score, it means absolutely nothing. You need a guy who can put the ball in the hole. And Donovan Mitchell has been ridiculous.
Yeah.
Over 20 points per game. This is the first rookie since Daryl Griffith. Another Daryl Griffith shutout this season. We saw him in the dunk contest to score 20 for this team. Karl Malone didn't do it. Gordon Hayward didn't do it. Enes Kanter didn't do it. That's just a heck of a lot of scoring from this guy. It's Donovan Mitchell at 20 plus, and then it's Rudy Gobert at 13 plus. There's a huge gap. This guy is asked to do so much. And when you said, we might have a LeBron Wade or a LeBron Melo type duel between Donovan Mitchell and Ben Simmons, this guy could be, one of the great scorers of this era. He is phenomenal.
All right, Trey, what's the next one?
All right, Joel Embiid has missed Philly's last 6 games, but it doesn't matter because after last night's victory over the Mavericks, the 76ers have extended their winning streak to 14 straight. Only 3 of those wins have come against playoff hopefuls, but you can only beat the teams in front of you. So guys, fill in the blank. The most impressive part of the 76ers win streak was blank.
Defense! Yeah, I'm keeping it simple with this one. This has been very, very impressive to me that they have, over the last 14 games, the best defense in the league. A 98.2 defensive rating, which is unbelievable. And a good chunk of that without Joel Embiid. The last 6 or 7 contests here, and that's a guy that I've already mentioned is in the running for Defensive Player of the Year. So to keep that up, that's crazy. Yeah, they haven't played a lot of great teams, but they had to play with us in front of them, as you said, Trey. So that's the most impressive part to me, the defense staying at that super high level.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about they haven't beaten a lot of great teams, but they only won 10 games a couple of years ago and they've won 14 straight
Yeah.
on this stretch. And I've put it because, well, the most impressive part is winning without Joel. It's been 6 official games, so it's really 7 because he missed most of that game that he got knocked out in. And the fact that Ben Simmons has been able to carry this team, and they've all stepped up. Ilyasova, Bellinelli, they've played incredible roles. Reddick's been great, and that win against Cleveland on Friday, that was a huge win for that team. So I just think it's impressive they've maintained that winning streak.
To me, it's the passing. You think with a young team, they wouldn't pass the ball all that much. They kind of look for theirs, especially with a guy like Joel Embiid in the middle. But this team leads the league in passes per game. That's ridiculous. When you look up all those sexy assist numbers in this league, it's the Sixers and the Warriors. The Sixers and the Warriors.
Wow.
That is who's leading the league in passes. And it's just phenomenal to me, especially, again, with a guy like Joel Embiid, who requires the ball. He moves the ball a heck of a lot as well. 32 straight games of 20-plus assists. You know, only the Warriors have done that. The Wizards did that as well. I don't know how they squeezed in there
Everybody
this
eats.
season.
Everybody eats.
But yeah, they're moving it a lot.
Final one, Trey.
All right, we got a big night of basketball tonight, my bros. 9 games
Cool.
on the
Cool,
schedule.
brosom.
That's right, brosom.
On the schedule.
Including some that have major playoff implications for the Thunder, Wolves, Spurs, Nuggets, and Pelicans. It's gonna be a late one, Lee. But fill in the blank. The game to watch tonight is blank.
It's a Snoop Dogg game, right?
What's the bro show here?
It's a Snoop Dogg game. Blazers Nugs. It's gotta be. Gotta be this one. I mean, there's so much going on in this game, which is what I'm so into. And it's weird because the Nuggets have won 5 in a row. The Blazers have slipped a little bit here. They've lost 3 in a row. But the Blazers, you know, they're trying to lock up the number 3 seed. The Nuggets are just trying to get into the playoffs. This should be a huge game. Tons of like jockeying there for positioning implications in this one. So I'll go with that one.
Yeah, that jockeying for spots, this is what happens. If the Pelicans, Wolves, Spurs, and Nuggets all win and the Thunder lose, I think the Thunder drop out of the playoffs tonight because the Nuggets have the tiebreaker with them. They'll have a 3-1 lead. So the Thunder are going to Miami to play. That's going to be an incredible game. But
And the Heat are playing for something still, too.
exactly.
For
And
playoffs.
the Wolves are playing the Grizzlies, who are resting everybody. So all these other teams are actually favoured to win. So this is a tough night for the Thunder.
But they play the Grizzlies on the last night of the season, so they win that, they're in. They just need to win one more, and they
Yeah.
play the Grizzlies at home. If they can't lose that. They just need to win one more.
But they don't want to be on the outside looking in, though, still. You just never know.
When we come back, brand new batch of Weekend Whoopsies. Final batch of the regular season.
The Starters is brought to you by Jack Daniel's Tennessee Honey, official partner of the NBA.
I can't believe I'm going to say this, but I'm going to try and say this. Let me do that again. I can't believe I'm going to say this, but this is the final Weekend Whoopsies of the 2017-18 regular season. Yes. Let's start with Amir Johnson.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
He not only bobbles the ball there, but then,
double bobble.
yeah, misses the dunk. A double whoopsie. What does it mean?
Same game. It was a fantastic one on Friday night. Cavs botched a little fast break, though.
That's why Kyle Korver doesn't go inside the three-point line.
Got it in the nice hairdo right there.
We're still with that game. LeBron with the huge dunk, but keep your eye on Kevin Love and his reaction. Whoa, wacky inflatable arm man.
Aftershocks.
The dunk was huge.
We get 2 back rides here. Not 1, but 2. First one, Kyle O'Quinn takes a ride on Tyler Johnson for a sec.
Cue the genuine. Yeah.
Well done. And then Marc Gasol on Stanley Johnson's back. As Stanley, nice box out. Real nice box out.
Yeah, Mark gives him a little tap. Yeah, nice box out. Good box
Well
out.
done. Respect.
I like this one as a leg wrap. Full piggyback ride right there.
This season has been all about the in-sync moments, and we got a new one from Jimmy Butler and Jamal Crawford as they walk back to the bench on Friday night. Pretty good.
Chris Paul is always interacting with the referees. Now, it's always hilarious, but it should never be imitated like Chris Paul imitates the referee.
You just straight up mocked him.
Yeah,
You won't blow that.
it's funny, but don't do it.
Boom.
He wanted that tee real bad.
Same game there. Melo's gonna bite on the pump fake, but tries the old, I used to call it the old Jose Calderon defense where you clap at the guy. It didn't work as Bamute splashed the jumper.
Spencer Dinwiddie looking for Quincy Acey in the corner. Quincy's not looking for the ball, though. Quincy, you hit 6 threes in this game.
Oh,
6.
man.
Be ready.
Yeah.
Fire away.
JaVale McGee, gonna try his best here to get a rebound, boxing out and all that, doing the little things. But as he strolls up into the fans, sees a little popcorn, a little snack there. Hungry mid-game, yoink, yummy.
Ben Simmons with a gorgeous pass
Oh, yeah.
to Ersan. Ilyasova can't finish.
Wow.
Oh,
On Sunday's Sixers.
yeah, Sixers are on a 14-game winning streak. We got a lot of bloopers here.
It's true, including this one. Not all of his passes were great. Ben looking for somebody on the break.
Well, he saw Ersan, he's like, not this time.
And same game. This is just incredible. Just enjoy this. Mavs Sixers
I'm
early
drinking.
on. Early on. This is just a very cool basketball sequence. Okay.
It was the 1 Eastern start,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. Okay. Now they got it. Okay. Sixers. All right. Let's go the other way. Nope. Nope. Mavs got it now. All right. Let's go. Nope. Sixers got it back. All right. Well, what's developing here? Hold on. There's an open guy. Oh, that's what I call a very solid play.
They got there, that's all that counts.
Back in a second with the real one. It's the 5th annual Starties this Thursday, 7 p.m. Eastern, hosted once again by Kristen Ledlow, where we hand out the hardware. Always a blast. So we'll do that on Thursday. But we got a lot before that. Tonight on NBA TV, Cavs, Knicks, LeBron in MSG. Yes, please. Be watching that. All right, we asked you, what iconic NBA moment would you like to recreate? You hit us up on Twitter, #TheStarters. Trey, you got a few of the best answers.
Yeah, some really good ones. Maddie says, I want J.R. Smith to untie my shoes. Haha. MJ says, the pregame dance with Russell Westbrook. I think I can hold my own just as Cam Payne did. That's a hefty promise. Anyways, Nil says, my guy reenacted the shrug in a pick with Cliff Robinson, but I don't seem to remember MJ getting the bunny ears. Hit him with the shrug, and Cliff was cool with it. I love it.
Good stuff, guys. All right, tonight's pick and play. It's an important game. Blazers, Nuggets. Taft's the only one taking Portland on the road. Everybody else taking the Nuggets. Why is that important? Well, it's a very, very short month, April is. So all we do is the old pie payoff. The Mrs. Doubtfire challenge. Yeah, we got our own pie guy that brings them in. Whoever's in last place in the very short month of April gets the pie. Ooh, hello. So there you go. All right, wedgie time. We had some.
We had 2 as we were filming our fans only on Friday night. We were here watching wedgies happen. Corey Joseph sticks it up in Toronto.
nice.
6.
The former Raptor,
Nice.
still current Canadian, sticks it in Canada.
Oh, the wedgie dunk.
Yeah, very, very rare. And then Maurice Spates, he's still getting those shots up.
Oh, yeah.
Sticks the 35th wedgie of the season. Maurice has had a few wedgies in his day.
All right, so we're going to need a lot in the playoffs. Lee, VSP.
Yeah, we're going out to Toronto for the Orlando Magic. We haven't seen a lot of them this year, but they sign off with a pretty nice one here. The ball fizzes
yeah, not
around in
bad.
the corner for a
Push bomb.
that's what I call a very
Get
solid
those thumbs
play.
up! Yeah, that's it for us tonight. We'll see you guys tomorrow night. 7 p.m.
Dangling
Eastern.
thumbs.
Hey. Thanks for joining us. And remember, last Fast Break Monday of the season.
Brace the night, people.
It is what they say.